So some nice single track roads, national speed limit applies. There we go. You just can't go too fast on these sort of roads. I mean, there's your view. You can probably get a little bit more movement along here. Gravel there to be careful of, and even then with gentle acceleration still feel a little twitch on that rear tyre. Nothing to get excited about. Now, hazard chevrons, so we're going to come down nice and slow. Could have used the brakes there. Say, this bike's great with its boxer engine because it's got some superb engine braking, but if you haven't got superb engine braking, don't be afraid to use the brakes. Just use them smoothly, gently, progressively. Now I'm probably going to have to come to a complete stop because the view's not really good. So you notice the brake foot stays up because that rear brake's really important to control the machine. Now, I can stop on the front brake only if I need to, because I've trained my hand to be very, very gentle with that front brake. If I earlier on had a very severe camber, didn't want to be putting my gear foot down, wanted to put the brake foot down because the bike would have been at such a weird angle, it would have felt very, very uncomfortable. So smoothness is always important. Both brakes. I was very lucky that when I first started riding, I did so many rural roads on my bike. And it sort of just teaches you a way of dealing with them. And you've got to resist the temptation to think, I want to go really fast around here because I can. Because it's very easy for it to end in tears. But on a road like this, yeah, we can get some speed up, we can make a little bit more progress. It's lovely. No problem. Once that view starts to disappear, you've got to rein it in and not keep it going. I don't know what's behind these trees. No clue. I have a little look, but I can't be certain. I'm just going to cover that front brake. You see, the limit point's moving, but there's not enough view to say let's get on with it. I mean, I'm looking out a little bit to try and get an earlier view, but I don't want to position my bike further out to the offside. There's a bit more view, a bit more gas. See the back of a give way sign, there's obviously a road there. And now we see the junction markings. They come in nice and slow. Do I have to put my foot down and stop? Yes, I do. Because that view is not good enough. A little bit of slow speed control, lean the bike in, job done, away we go. And this is what I say, you know, slow speed control technique, after you've learned to stop and start, the most important technique you'll ever learn. That's where it's at, that's where your control's at. So whenever I've heard that someone's had a problem with something, you know, can't do standing start turns or whatever it might be, can't do hill starts, it's all about this slow speed control technique. Power for stability, clutch slip for control, rear brake for speed control. Invaluable. A very underrated skill. A lot of students don't like the technique. You know, you've got to run 3 controls at the same time. It's like patting your head and rubbing your tummy in it. There's a lot to think about. And so a lot of people, once they've done their test in Mod 1, they think, I'm not doing that again, don't like that. It's like learning to reverse, isn't it? A lot of people don't like reversing, so don't do it again. You've got to do it, you've got to practice it, because otherwise you'll find riding difficult. So with the car in front of me filling the lane, I've got a lot more flexibility in where I position. No point in getting up close to behind him, because I'll get less of a view and I'll get less chance to react to things and see things. So let's see what this black car does. He should hopefully sneak through the gap and then we'll have it. So second into third, keeping the engine fairly relaxed. We're not making maximum progress, we don't need to do that. And third's a very flexible gear at the moment. So a lot of flexibility on road positioning with him in front of me. Can't rely exclusively on it 100%, but you know, it is different. Because if a car comes around the corner, it's going to hit him before it hits me, so I do have a lot of flexibility here. Generally like to pop slow speed control technique here, look for the junction. There we go. So you probably noticed the revs stayed up there a little bit, and that just gave me that stability. So I was hardly using any clutch on that at all. Revs came up, back brake in use, and because of the type of junction that it was, it just gave some extra stability. Had I come to a complete stop and had to wait, I would have shut the throttle completely. So a slow speed control stop is very different to a normal stop. As I was going to say to you there, raise the visor at the junction, always like that. I think it just gives you a little bit more awareness. Got an early view of the road across there. Slow speed control technique without the rear brake there, a little bit of clutch slip, tiny bit of gas. As we've said before, every one of these driveways, entrances to fields, they're all potential risk factors to someone emerging in your path, so we don't want to go tearing across them blindly. We want to have a little bit of consideration, a little bit of thought, and then once that road opens up, yeah, let's make a bit of progress. Or not, you know. If you're just out for a nice little ride and want to enjoy yourself, you don't have to go fast, do you? I think there's one thing that has really changed in me over the years. I don't want to go as fast as I used to. I mean, I can ride relatively quick, but you don't bounce like you used to when you were younger. I don't want to come off that bike. And of course it's practice what you preach. It's alright me preaching a lot of this stuff and then I go out there and ride like a hooligan myself. It'd be a bit daft really, wouldn't it? To be honest, riding fast is not the mark of a good motorcyclist. It's just not. What is the mark of a good motorcyclist? Let's just raise that visor and have a listen to the junction before we keep talking. Yeah, what is the mark of a good motorcyclist is someone who's calm, considered, reads hazards well and responds well to the hazards. And interestingly, what I've always found is that when you get these things right, when you get the precision of the machine right, when you read the road correctly and you react correctly, automatically extra speed comes in if you require it. You don't have to consciously think about it. If you have to think about going fast, you're doing it wrong. You should focus on riding well and safe, and then it'll all be quite apparent. It's like, look, easy to bring the speed up, now the view's disappearing, the speed has to be lost. And And there we go into another hazard, so the speed stays lost. There's no point in going mad, is there? And it's the 30 limit anyway. And you know, being calm and relaxed is such a vital part of it. I've seen a lot of people, spoken to a lot of people, you know, and they're trying to go quicker and they're getting all tense and they're getting wound up, then the brain's not working. If you're just in the moment and just relaxed, you just put together a great ride. Always going to ease off for a brow of a hill, and look, crossroads on a brow of a hill. That's a nasty one. You know, we spoke about junctions and bends recently, didn't we? Well, junctions and brows of hills aren't very clever either. You know, matching your speed with the view that you have or haven't got, and the other hazards that you're aware of or that could be there, that's vital. Let's get that speed off. Firm braking, easing that front brake off, easing that back brake off. There's the control. It's another reason why learning to use your brakes properly is so important. I know you're taught to do emergency stops on your CBT and your direct access, but it's not always about coming to a complete stop. It's about speed reduction. Firm braking is absolutely fine. Harsh braking is not fine. Your ability to bring your motorcycle to reduced speed firmly in a controlled manner is so important to your safety. Can't stress it enough. Like here, you know, we can do some firm braking, come down the gears, avoid that debris there, avoid that bit of patch on the road there. The time to bring the gas on is as the bike is straightening up and you can see the exit. It's just maintenance throttle through the bend itself if you need to, or if you've got momentum, potentially close throttle. Depends what you need, depends how you've entered the junction, the hazard. Like here, keeping it well out to the left initially so that I don't meet any problems like that there. And yet again, another reason why you should learn about counter steering and how to move your bike rapidly. I know we do the avoidance mover on the direct access. A lot of people are very rigid about moving the bike suddenly. It's not a manoeuvre they like doing. Having said that, I have noticed over the years that when people have got used to it, some of them say, actually, I really enjoyed that. Well, learn to enjoy it, because sometimes you need to just put in an instant change of direction like you did there with that oncoming vehicle, and it's great. So we practice doing that from high-ish speed, 30 mile an hour. I know the American police do an exercise where they have to brake very firmly, get off the brakes and then change direction either to the left or to the right, and they don't know which way they're going until the last moment. Great training exercise. If you've ever got any safe off-road space to practice that, great exercise to try. visor up, stop junction, early view, nothing to see. So it's got to stop legally, but also very good for our safety. Easing that front brake off. Want to get across there promptly. So single-ish track road, no centre white marked lines, but it's a bit wider than a proper single track. See those cars going away in the distance. Series of bends, first left, then right. I want to go out too wide because of that unofficial little junction and oncoming car, but you just drop the bike into the turn there nice and easily. And it's just gently teasing that throttle for stability and progress where necessary. So when we decide to use the other side of the road or we're offside, very important, there's a bit more speed there just because I can't see those cars. Yeah, we're all good. Yeah, when you're offside, use the other side of the road. Important that you're absolutely certain you've got a clear view before you go out there. I mean, actual offsiding is now absolutely not recommended in most places. You know, stay on your own side of the road. But you've seen in the videos, I will sometimes pinch a little bit of the oncoming carriageway if the view's there, and it can make your line a little bit nicer. But only when absolutely necessary, or so blatantly obvious that it's safe. One of the worst things you can do is to default into that position without any level of thought or view of the road ahead, because you put yourself out there and someone comes round, it's squeaky seat time. It's like I'd like to overtake these two. Brow Hill. Not a great view, and there's a 30 limit, so do you know what, we're just going to relax it anyway. Let's open that visor, get a bit more air in. It's lovely and warm. .5 degrees, beautiful. So he's going to turn, so I've just closed the throttle really early. I've got no one behind me apart from my mate, he knows what I'm doing. And it's always good not to bring the gas on until the vehicle has totally cleared the carriageway. Seen it many occasion, cars turning, it's halfway through the turn, the vehicle behind gets the gas on and the vehicle that's turning stops and blocks the carriageway, then it's hard on the brakes. Wait till it's out of the way, it's only a second or two. Always have a little bit of caution here with these junctions. And I think the other thing as well, if you're a new rider, don't be afraid to move your body a little bit. You know, you need to use your body to move that bike. If you're very rigid on a bike, you're going to find cornering and steering very, very difficult. So it's worth experimenting in a controlled, safe area and seeing how moving your body and using your counter steering techniques just bring in a much nicer ride. Let's get a view into this junction before we commit. Consider lifesaver. Here we go, gently drain cover there. Not a problem in the dry at low speeds, wouldn't be too clever in the wet. Just being a little bit resistant on the throttle there because I've got the junction and the bend. And then of course we're into a 30, so we don't want to go too mad. Keeping it tight left in case someone's coming towards me, like one of those big tractors that we keep seeing. And that's something else I see a lot of. You know, you've got a right hand bend with no view and someone just carves through the middle of the bend. Usually cars, I'm afraid to say, but I have seen motorcycles do it. And if you do, you're putting yourself at risk, of course. Nice little GS. Always ask yourself, what's around the bend and could I stop if I had to? I come round here one day and there was a 30-ton 8-leg tipper turning into that farmyard. Little mirror there, entrance to a field, so I have to be a little bit cautious, not going to go absolutely mad. Easing off for the brow of the hill, leftward position for safety. It's always good to have a view. Just see that cyclist there already. And so there we go. So I hope this has been useful to you in some way. So until next time, ride safe and take care.